Oh, there's Jessica.
No, Robbie, you still sound faint.
When I talk, I'll just have to get close to the phone then.
Yeah, everybody's here.
Yep.
Looks like it. 5:22.
Oh, we're still waiting on the 2 board members though.
Back for lunch pail crowd, and by suggesting some.
Who did he say? Oh, they're together.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. That is the lady from Arizona, the first one, Miss Barbara. And then Robbie, you're with the fence company, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your
Okay.
last name?
What's your last name? I'm sorry.
Calder, Caulder.
Okay.
Tell them Alicia's here with you. Take a minute.
Oh, and just so you guys know, Alicia's beside me, taking notes, taking the minutes. Catherine, are you on there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Okay.
It's the one that says it's Catherine's iPad. That's me. I just don't
Okay,
have the
gotcha.
video on.
Okay. Well, we still got 7 minutes.
Yeah.
We still got about 7 minutes. Lindsay, who's Lindsay? Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
Is everybody here?
Yeah.
Could we get started if everybody's here?
I don't know since
Well-
it's since they can log in online. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Since it's being shown also, I think on the city's website.
We can't hear him.
Yeah, we still can't hear you real good at all.
How about now?
It's mute. It's real faint.
Let me try one other thing.
Okay.
Kim, you're live on YouTube, the Access channel and our website, so you can start whenever you feel ready.
Okay. YouTube channel access. Well, once we can hear Davis, we can start.
Yeah. He's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's still being.
Yeah, that's true.
Kim, did you guys already go over like how they can make a motion, or if they oppose a motion, how they can do that?
No, can you give us that?
I know that there's on the reactions at the bottom of their screen, if they put their mouse over it, there should be a thumbs up for a yes vote. But it might be better if they just say nay,
Yes.
unless
Yeah.
Jeff has a better alternative to that.
Yeah, I like I think Alicia and I can better tell who it is if everyone, for the minutes, if everyone says it verbally.
Tell Davis once he gets there.
And everybody's okay with using the space bar to speak? I see a lot of people muted, so.
Yeah, somebody's still trying to connect to audio over there. Oh, that's Miss Barbara. Okay. You want to give it a test, Davis?
No, I'm here. I'm actually, I'm good. I'm using, I'm splitting my bandwidth based on what's happening at home right now. My husband is hogging a lot of the bandwidth because he's doing a recording for Josh. So I'm splitting.
Okay, you're fine. You can, if you just keep it muted, and then we're going to see if we can hear the chairperson.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can anybody else hear Davis? No?
Very little.
Barely.
I can barely hear him.
I'm having to use my phone. My computer does not have microphone. hooked to it.
Whatever you did there, it was better.
Yeah, it was a little bit better.
Talking like this.
Yeah, when you held it, like talking into the, where we saw just your forehead, it was a little bit better.
How about now?
That's, we'll try it and see.
I used this the other day and it worked fine. It seemed to. But I don't know why it's not doing it today. You hear
It
me?
Yeah.
sounds like you're smothering your phone with a pillow.
It does.
Let me
Is
try
the
taking-
volume turned down on it?
How about now?
It's the same.
I'll try taking the case off of it.
What is it?
He's going to try taking the case off of it.
Oh, okay. Thanks for interpreting. Yeah, that probably would make a big difference. And it's 5:29. Nothing. Nothing at all now. Barely. Is the volume down on your phone?
I can't hear him at all.
Yeah.
Who's the co-chair?
Yeah.
Try switching it to speaker.
Do not know. Let me see how to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how, but that's actually worse.
Let me disconnect the audio.
Jessica, should we use a co-chair in this or a vice chair?
I can't hear her.
Can't hear you, Jessica.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I'm getting used to it too. I'm
Yeah.
not entirely sure how the Roberts Rules of Order interprets that since the chairman is actually present.
Mm.
Is the vice chairman present?
Yeah, Charles.
Charles, right?
Charles?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I just don't,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you really good, yes. So what should we do, Jessica? Please advise.
I'm wondering if Davis should maybe recuse himself, so that Davis could automatically take over. I don't want him not to be able to participate in discussion. That's the only
Right.
problem.
I can call in. It gives me a way to call in and do it with a regular phone and dial in. Let me try that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would be better as long as we can hear him. I think that would be better.
Yeah, definitely. Mhm.
Can you hear me now?
It's still very muted.
How about, it gave me when I tried to hit dial in, there was a number of different.
I think we can hear him enough that we can start the meeting. I can anyway.
Okay.
We just may have to clarify some things, but why don't we get started with the meeting? Because I can hear Davis, about 50% of what he's saying
And if somebody else.
Oh, that's
can
good.
read-
in regards to volume.
If somebody else can read the initial part, I guess, Kim, that's the only thing I would just ask, and then I'll let y'all call it,
Oh, okay.
make notes.
Do you have that?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is from last minute. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
hardship.
Okay.
You want to call it to order
Yeah, if you want to call it to order, I can read the hardships.
when we get to that.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the City of Conway Board of Zoning Appeals meeting dated April 23rd, Thursday at 5:35 p.m. I think we got everybody in attendance. So I guess first order of business, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being heard, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Doesn't sound like there were any nays, so I guess it's ayes from everybody. All right, I will let Kim, if you would you mind just going over for a few ground rules? If you have something, what we will usually do is let the city's representatives speak with regards to the motion or to the matter at hand first, and then we put a question that either the board members may have or that the applicants may have after that. That is agreeable with everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to read the what warrants a hardship for a variance.
Correct.
Extraordinary conditions. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Other property. The extraordinary and exceptional conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Utilization. Because of the extraordinary or exceptional conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Determinant, the authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting a variance.
And then we had the first guy.
All right, I guess the first matter before us is, go back up, we have one that was previously deferred, and I'll let the city go over the first one. It is Barbara Y, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's requesting a variance from strict application of the city's UDO with regards to fences and walls, and I'll let the city go ahead and start
Okay.
presentation.
The applicant, Ms. Barbara Y, had brick columns installed along her side and rear property lines with the intent of having a fence installed between the brick columns for privacy and security. Her property is adjacent a 16-foot alley, therefore must meet the corner yard setback of 10 foot. The columns adjacent the 16-foot alley are to be moved. However, an oak tree prevents her from meeting the 10-foot required setback. A 6-foot corner yard setback would allow her to miss the oak tree. Also, the columns installed in the front yard are well over the 4-foot maximum height requirement. The columns average approximately 6 to 7 foot tall. However, the applicant only plans to have a 4-foot fence installed between the existing columns. Finally, the mailbox column installed at the front of the property is 10 inches over the maximum height of 4 feet, measuring 58 inches in height. The UDO section 5.2.3 fences and walls states that a fence or wall of any construction may project into or enclose required yards, but not over any boundary in all zones, providing that a maximum height measured from the natural grade at which the fence or wall occurs does not exceed the following: commercial and residential, 4 feet, front yards, 6-foot corner yards, provided a 10-foot setback is met from the lot line, 6 feet side yards, and 8 feet rear yards. A fence or wall located on a corner lot may be up to 6 feet in height, provided it meets a mandatory 10-foot setback from the public right-of-way or lot line. Furthermore, fences and walls installed on corner lots must remain clear of all sight triangles. The applicant cites the following reasons for which a variance should be granted: to protect the existing oak tree and for safety and security of the property. The variance is requested is to allow a 6-foot corner yard setback and to allow for front yard columns over the 4-foot maximum height requirement. And Miss Barbara is available, and also someone from the Mr. Robbie from the fence company.
Kim, is the PowerPoint,
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Kim, one quick question.
I've been by there and, you know, maybe it should have been permitted, but at this point, the pony's out of the stable and it looks okay. And I don't think it's in the way of that alley as far as emergency vehicles and things like that goes.
That's what I was gonna ask, Kim. Has the city gone out and make sure they can get through the alley if they need to? And also, as far as, I didn't know if they had to make any type of, it doesn't encroach into the actual roadway, my understanding, is that correct?
Correct.
I'd err on the side of the oak tree.
Is the survey up to date?
No, I believe it was done in 2018. Miss Barbara, do you know when the survey was done?
So the survey would have been done in 2018, 2017, as we were doing some renovations on the property. So it is fairly up to date, I would believe.
In light of the circumstances, I'd make a motion to approve the variance.
We got a motion. Does anyone else want to second the variance? I'll second. I just do want one point of clarification though. Is there any issue with the mailbox? Is that something, what is the issue there?
It was 10 inches higher than is allowed.
Is the post office gonna allow that? And that's my only question.
I'm not sure.
I would say yes. They're currently delivering mail to it actively, and it was placed in the exact same spot where the prior mailbox was.
What type of fence is going between the columns?
Robbie, I'll let you answer that, please, sir. It's an expensive one, I can tell you that, but I'll let him answer.
The rear corners of both sides of the house out to the property lines and down covering the rear of the house is a 6-foot tall tan privacy fence. And from the rear corners towards the front property lines of the house or toward the front runway or the front roadway is a 4-foot or 4-foot high fence per code on the right side. And on the left side, the 4-foot fence just comes from the rear corner on the property line toward the front corner of the house.
Okay, thank you.
And if you're asking about the material, I don't know if you're asking about the specific material, but Robbie, you may want to cover that. We tried to make the color of the fence match with the color of the home. And you may want to just speak to the type material. I'm not sure if that was the question.
That was part of, thank you.
It is a vinyl privacy fence. So it is an extruded or a molded vinyl product.
In comparison to other properties in the neighborhood, it's a good looking piece of property. And I don't think the fence is going to detriment anything in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
I believe we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion being heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And since we're doing it this way, are there any nays? None being heard, all in favor, ayes have it, and we will, move on to the next matter.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And it looks like the next matter is DSW Homes is the applicant requesting a variance for dimensional requirements for residential zoning regarding setbacks on property located at 933 Taylor Square.
Yes. A case was heard on the October 24th Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, and the requested variances were granted. However, upon reviewing the site plan for the proposed home, staff discovered that there was a covered porch area proposed for the right side of the property. Because the board granted a variance based on the information provided by the applicant, only a 6.9-foot right side yard setback was approved instead of the 0.9 setback that is needed per the site plan.
Can we update the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. A second variance was requested addressing this issue and was denied on the December 19th, 2019 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. A certified letter stating such was mailed to the builder but was returned undeliverable. Upon on-site inspection, staff found that the covered porch had been built within the 0.9 of the property line. The covered portion of the porch has since been removed by the builder. However, the home was built on a crawl space, leaving the landing portion within the 0.9 foot of the property line. The applicant cites the following reasons for which a variance should be granted. The approved plan specified by the South Carolina Disaster Recovery Office cannot meet the setback requirements for the city of Conway. Ingress egress from the side door would be limited without a proper landing. Variance requested, setback of 0.9 feet on the right side. And Mr. John is here.
So putting steps without a landing is not an option?
Not to meet the code requirement. The minimum code requirement, what I suggest to do is to cut that landing back down to the minimum code requirement, which is 3 feet. And then I could put a set of stairs either, to the front or to the back. So
Right.
that would gain 3 more feet to the side boundary line. So I guess it would end up being 3.9 feet. But I do need I do need at a minimum, I need a 36-inch landing by the code. Also, another caveat on this home is the South Carolina Disaster Recovery Office, because of mobility issues with the greens, have specified for us to put a ramp off one of the doors. My suggestion there would be to take it from the front, bring it across to the corner of the house at the front, if you're looking at the PowerPoint now, and do a switchback back to the front, and then run the remainder of the ramp essentially in front of the front porch. Just wanted to clear all that up, you know, as we're going through this. You know, that the owner is in state housing, state funded housing right now, and so, and I do apologize for what happened before with the December thing. I don't know those people that applied for that second variance and didn't show up for it are no longer with our company. So just trying to get Mr. and Mrs. Green into their home so they could enjoy the use of a brand new home.
And just to clarify, the ramp that you propose, that won't encroach any further into the front yard setback than the front porch already does, will it?
It will, approximately 4 feet, because the ramp has to be the 4 foot minimum width. So it would run approximately, you know, we're about 3 foot high there. So it would take it to just about the edge, the left edge of the existing front porch. So it would come up another, you know, I could try to narrow it down, but you know, I need at minimum, I need 36 inches of free space on that ramp. So with the grab bars and the handrails and everything else needed on that, you know, it comes to closer to 4 feet.
The reason I asked
Looks like
is
you're running out of real estate.
that wasn't advertised, that part of it. So if you're wanting to encroach closer in the front yard setback than what's already encroached, it can't be. Kim, what's the zoning district on this?
Sorry, I didn't have that right in front of me. I believe it was was it R2? I'm sorry.
And I'll just add that this is a building code issue. Originally, the plans that staff had reviewed showed that the house was almost flush with the ground and that it was a concrete stoop. So that was our understanding originally. So the door would open up pretty much level with the ground with the exception of concrete, which can encroach into the setback. But because it's on a crawl space and you have that stoop there, it has to meet ADA requirements in order for there to be a CO issued on the house.
That's correct. You know, the elevation pages, I believe, showed, you know, the whatever you know, what you call the stoop, but the floor plans from the foundation, the floor plans and everything did show a crawl space on the actual blueprint.
Are there other remedies?
Is there room to ramp for the house on the front anywhere? Left or right? Is there enough run there?
Correct. That's what I stated. It would have to come. If you look at a picture from the front door, the ramp would take off directly to the right of the front door to the end of the house. But for the requirements, I need a 1 in 12. So for every foot of fall, I need 12 feet, a 1:1 ratio on that to meet code. So if the house is 32 inches above the existing grade, essentially, then I need 32 feet of ramp. Now I can bring the grade up in the front to incorporate, a shorter ramp. That's a possibility there. But that would be the easiest remedy, is to bring the grade up into the front, take the ramp off to the side, and then back up to the front. And then the encroachment may be another foot or two from the existing front porch. That would be the simplest remedy for shortening of the ramp.
That would require a separate variance because the house is 10.3 feet away from the front now.
Okay, so would I have to put in for another variance, or can we just get through this now? I just wanted to get moving on this again. So I wanted to alert y'all to it because I don't know what they submitted the first time or anything like that. But whatever I need to do to expedite it, I would love to expedite it.
Yeah, Jessica, the ad just read setback requirements. Could it fall under? Is what he's requesting?
Did you specify front yard or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
John, could you come off the side and do a handicap ramp off the side entrance?
Jessica, I could, but then I would have to make the landing there wider to incorporate for that ramp. So by cutting it back to the code minimum of 3 foot, then I'm good there, and it gets us, 3 more feet of clearance on the side yard.
I apologize. I did not see the ad. It just depends on how general it was. And if it didn't specify a particular setback and the right section was advertised, then that could be entertained.
Okay. Yeah, Alicia's going to double check it, but I believe it read,
Just like that.
yeah, Article 6, Section 6.2, residential building types and design standards, Table 6.1, dimensional requirements for residential zoning districts regarding setback requirements for the property located at 933 Taylor Square.
That's general enough to go ahead and consider it, at least in my personal opinion, so we can try to get the thing determined instead of having to go back and drop back the punt and do this again next month. So it's my 2 cents.
And it would actually be pushed because we don't have any for next month, so it would be pushed to the following month.
So explain again what we're looking at and asking for, please.
Okay, as I'm looking at this, I'm going to bring the front elevation grade.
No, sir, in respect to the zoning administrator.
I know he's asking for a side setback of 0.9. This is the first I've heard of the front, so I'm not really sure what exactly that is on the front.
John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what he's asking is to bring the handicap ramp off the front porch, and that it would encroach an additional 1 to 2 feet into the front yard because of the slope that you have to do and potentially into the side yard, another foot or two if it came off the front versus the side.
I don't like it because it sounds like it was poorly planned, but in light of the circumstances, I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion based on the exceptional circumstances due to one, this being a disaster relief planned house. Is there a second? I'll second the matter. Is there any further discussion?
Is this a motion for the front setback specifically, or is this addressing the side? There's a side issue now, right, too?
I understand it was for both the front setback to raise the grade, bringing the ramp down to the side of it, which would require a encroachment based on what ADA requirements should be, and on the side where it has to have the landing right there, adjusting the setback from the 6.9 to 0.9. That correct, Jim?
I
Yes.
believe on the side, we could be at 3'9". When I shorten that landing up rather than 0.9. So that would gain access to 3 more feet on that side yard.
Were there any calls or letters in opposition?
We did have a lady email today, and but she was under the impression that they were doing something on the opposite side of the house. She's the neighbor on the other side.
Jim, do you want to amend your motion?
I'll retract my motion.
Or retract it, or are you going to amend it to change for the side setback? Or I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Well, from what I understood, the front setback wasn't on this request. It would be another request. But why don't I just retract my motion altogether?
Anyone else want to make a motion, or is there any further discussion?
John, was there anything that you wanted to add with respect to the building code requirement or anything like that?
I believe we can solve the issue with the right side yard at 3'9", bringing the grade up, and I should be able to darn near meet exactly the set-offs that are incorporated now on the front. I may need a foot or so, but I don't believe I need a whole lot. So I think aesthetic wise, everything will look fine. Granting more side yard than the 0.9 feet. And I think we could make it aesthetically pleasing that it doesn't look like a 100-foot long ramp. You know, I just finished one up on a floodplain. I had a 135-foot long ramp on it. It was 8 foot up in the air.
But I'm just trying to clarify for the board that you are wanting to have an additional variance on the front, because anything you add to the front would be encroaching into the setback because the house already does. It's a legal non-conforming lot, and the structure that was there was legal non-conforming. So now any additions you have to the front would require a variance. So if they approve only the side and then you have to have another foot, then you've got to come back to the board for another variance request.
Jessica, but is there not any exception to that to comply with ADA requirements when you have to have a repair?
No, sir. No, not when it comes to the setbacks. We don't give any leeway for steps or ADA ramps to encroach into setbacks. I know some municipalities or counties give certain distance, but this is already exceeded into the setbacks as it is.
Miss Jessica, I think I could make it work with the 3'9" on the right side. And then the existing 10'3", I believe it says, on the front, I can make that work. And I will be able to get the ramp into that area that won't encroach anywhere on either of those setbacks.
Okay, then the variance requested has gone from 0.9 foot to a 3.9 foot.
Only in the side, from what I'm.
Right side yard.
Correct, only on the side.
I'd go ahead and make a motion to discuss the circumstances, undue hardship, people have to have a ramp, it sounds like, and also with ADA requirements to only extend the side request to the 3.9, I believe is what was just stated, and to bring the grade up on the front to incorporate a ramp without a need for an additional variance in the front. Were y'all able to hear that?
Barely.
I heard it and I'll second the motion.
Jim?
I said I heard it and I'll second the motion.
Okay. Did anyone else not hear the motion?
Was the motion to approve the side setback from 0.9 to 3.9?
Yes. Yes.
I'll second it, or aye.
Okay, any further discussion? None being heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For any
Aye.
No nays being heard. Motion carries for the 3.9 feet setback variance. And I guess we'll go on to the next.
Everybody have a great night.
You too.
Thank you. And Kim, can you go ahead and go into the next one since nobody can barely hear me?
Yeah. Next variance request, Melissa D. Johnson, applicant, request a variance from the strict application of the City of Conway Unified Development Ordinance, Article 6, Section 6.5.2, Gateway Corridor Overlay regarding fencing materials for the property located at 3304 4th Avenue. The applicant has submitted and proposes to convert the funeral home located on 4th Avenue into a veterinarian office. The proposal includes 6 canine exercise kennels, 12 foot by 24 foot by 6 foot tall, created with heavy-duty chain link fencing. These 6 kennels will be enclosed within the boundaries of a 6-foot white vinyl privacy fence. The UDO section 6.5.2 Gateway Corridor Overlay states that chain link fencing with or without barbed wire in the GCO shall be prohibited. The applicant cites the following reasons for which a variance should be granted. The proposed business cannot operate without kennel runs. The chain link fencing will not be visible from the right-of-way. Chain link fencing is a necessity for the safety of the animals and staff. Variance requested to allow chain link fencing within the Gateway Corridor Overlay. And Miss Melissa's here to speak on behalf.
guess first, Melissa, is there anything you would like to say?
Oh, you're muted, Melissa.
I can explain why it's needed, the chain link, if it's necessary to go into further detail. It will be covered up with a privacy. It's basically a 2 protection fence, but I need the chain link on the inside for most definitely safety reasons. And it's more so for my workers, but the animals as well. We have to be able to see the animals, and I have to be able to see the workers at all times in the backyard. And I can't do that with a privacy fence in between. If you could imagine walking into somebody's backyard with a privacy fence and they have a nice 120-pound dog, and you walk into the backyard and they don't know that you're coming through, you can imagine that might not be working out well for you. So the chain link would allow us to be able to see the animals and know that we're capable of going into the fencing, as well as I would know that my workers are okay. If somebody had fallen or if an animal had unfortunately turned on them inside that fencing, I would be able to visually see that from the back door and not wonder what's going on with them in between.
Do you own the property already?
I do.
And you've got a business license?
I don't have a business license yet because it's not operating. I bought the property a year ago and you guys just gave me a building permit so I could work on the inside.
And she had it rezoned for the use.
Yes, ma'am.
So the
All
fence,
chain link fence will be covered from exteriors.
Say that again?
All the chain link fencing will be covered from the exterior of the property.
Yeah, there's going to be a privacy fence on the outside all the way around on the backyard. Well, I call it the backyard, but it's the yard that's visible from Webb Street. So it'll really be a 2 fence system. So if an animal got out of the chain link, they're not going to get out of the second fence as well. So you won't be able to see the chain link whatsoever from any aspect, the back, the side, the front, or Webb Street.
As long as the chain link fence is visible, I don't see a problem with it.
I agree.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
There's places that there's no chain link, granted, it's not saying that their grandfather.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I think Davis is talking.
That's all right. He's fine. Heard the motion, got a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Got a second. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion?
No. Not
No.
None being heard. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Are there any,
Aye.
are there any nays? None being heard. Motion carries. Thank you for your time, Ms. Johnson. And
Thank you.
Go on to the next.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Kim, I'll let you go ahead and do this one also.
Okay, no problem. Mr. Keith Richardson, applicant, request a variance from the strict application of the City of Conway Unified Development Ordinance, Article 6, Section 6.2, residential building types and design standards, dimensional requirements for residential zoning districts, regarding the minimum lot width requirement for the property located at 1824 9th Avenue. The applicant proposes to subdivide the property located at 1824 9th Avenue into 2 separate parcels in order to build 2 affordable homes. The property is zoned R1, low medium density residential, and requires 7,500 square feet minimum lot size with 75-foot minimum lot width and 100-foot minimum lot depth. Currently, the parcel is approximately 0.75 acres at 120 feet wide and 250 feet deep. The UDO, dimensional requirements for residential zoning districts, states that the minimum lot width for a detached single-family dwelling is 75 foot. The applicant cites the following reasons for which a variance should be granted. The subject property is a long rectangular and is more than 2 times deeper in length than it is wide. The tract had originally been 3 parcels and is not particular to the neighborhood, creating the rectangular lot. The lot is large and oddly shaped for the area. By splitting the lot into 2 lots, it will allow for 2 homes to be built to better meet the needs of the community. And the variance will provide affordable housing options for people looking to move into this community, and members of the community are looking for affordable options for friends and family. Variance requested to have a minimum lot width of 60 feet versus the required 75 feet. And Mr. Keith is here on behalf of the request.
Can we look back at the GIS?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Kim,
Yes, sir.
what's the width of do we have any ideas what the width of the lot is right beside it? Looking at it, I'm just trying to figure out if it's,
I can find out real quick for you.
The lot to the left is 50 feet.
Oh, okay.
And 90% of the lots in that area are 50 feet wide or less. We're building on the corner of Live Oak and Leonard, which is actually was 50 feet as well. If I could ask, we would not want to change any kind of variances on the setbacks for that side of the 378, which is 20 in the front and 10 on the sides. We would not ask for any kind of leniency or variancy to change on that. We would want to still maintain the setbacks that you require in that area. And we spoke to the neighbors to both sides and across the street, and they were just concerned that there were going to be lots of houses where when we explained that to them, it would be 2 affordable houses, you know, that, and what we found is, you know, in that side of Conway, a lot of the family members don't have anywhere for their family to move back in those areas, you know, without having to move to subdivisions that are further away. So we found that, you know, by building an affordable house in that area, it made it appealing to family members and friends of that side of 378.
I guess obviously if you split the lots the other way, there's no access to the back lot.
Correct.
No, ma'am. That's really backs up against that other parcel.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, the property to the left is 50 feet wide, as well as the property to the right is on 50 feet wide.
the only way that would work is you had a shared private drive, which I don't even know that they will allow.
Yeah, the city doesn't permit shared private drives. That's just in the county.
Can we go back to the site plan, please?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Richardson, I'm assuming that you've checked and there's no deed restrictions preventing you from subdividing that lot from the other subdivision?
I don't quite follow your question. I'm trying to figure out what you asked me. Say it one more time.
Yes, sir. There's no deed restriction that prevents you subdividing that lot from the existing subdivision?
No, sir. Actually, that parcel had to be researched right on back to almost 90 years. And as Ms. Wilkerson stated, there was several deeds that came together to make this one piece of property. In the center of this property, in researching the deed, there was an apartment complex that sat center of this piece. There was a house in the rear of this property many, many years ago. And, when the person deeded this property, to the heirs, through the years, it became one tract of land, in other words. But an apartment complex, according to the Register of Deeds, and when we searched the title, there was an apartment complex that sat center of that. So really, there's no deed restrictions on that being split. We just saw a need for the affordable housing. The pictures you see there, that's a house we propose to build and stay at the 139 range. Where that house anywhere else would fetch 160, 170, but we know the need for people wanting to get back to that area. So that's really what we were trying to do. And speaking with the neighbors on the left and the right and across the street, they were all excited about that. Once they found out it was, 2 new construction homes, not a multiple of construction homes going there.
Yes, sir.
Kim, I saw there was a letter in the packet. Is that as Miss Only? I think it's the one that.
That's the only thing we received, and I think Mr. Richardson has since spoken with her. Correct, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, ma'am. That was to the left, and that was Miss Camilla. She was just concerned about how many houses were going there and what the size of the lots were. And within talking with her, I explained to her that your lot is only 50 feet wide, where these lots would be 60 feet wide. And there's about 15 feet from her house to the property line. And I explained to her that the house would be another 10 additional feet on the other side of the property. So it'd really be about 25 feet, between the 2 houses, which really would not pose a problem. And she was all fine with that after that. She just was concerned that there were going to be a flood of homes next door and that they would be on top of her. And I told her that, that her lot's only 50 feet wide. These lots would be 60 feet wide, which there again, we're not asking the city to change any of the setback rules that they have in place. We don't want that to be amended at all. And we want to follow those guidelines. And so that's what we were proposing. And she was all for that. And we spoke to Miss Fay across the street, and she was fine. We explained to her who we were and what we were planning to do and bringing affordable housing to the neighborhood. And they were all fine with that. They were all excited about that. In fact, the lady across the street said her daughter was looking to move back in the neighborhood, and there's just not any houses being built on that side of the road, on side 378 in that neighborhood.
What was the configuration? Because you said it was a combination of 3 lots previously. What was the configuration?
The only information I had was that the tract had originally been 3 parcels.
Sorry, I dropped off for a minute.
Anyone want to make a motion? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the variance, particularly the ordinary circumstances. This was formerly 3 lots, other properties that would not generally apply utilization. It is a very deep lot. It's twice the size of any of the other ones, at least right there around it. And definite lots, I don't see where it would be a detriment to that. It is still wider than some of the lots that are adjacent to it.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are
Uh,
are there any nays? No, are there any nays? None being heard. Motion is approved. I think that is the end of the matters before us, and I don't know if anyone has any, or is there anything else, Kim, that we have? Over?
The only,
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
thank you, Mr.
I didn't mean to
Richardson.
interrupt you, but I
Oh,
want to
you're
say
fine.
thank you to all of you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
You.
The only thing that I had was, we don't have any variance requests for the May 28th meeting, so we will not have another meeting until June 25th. Not sure if it'll be this way or not, but we'll notify you closer to time.
If it is, I'll try to get a better access to a phone or something that works.
Okay.
No board input or staff input. How about public input? Is there any public input? None being heard. I assume no board input or staff input.
We're good.
Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Motion,
I'll-
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Further discussion, not being heard. All in favor, aye.
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 Thank y'all.
See ya.
You.
Thank y'all.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too. It is 6:24.